Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sonictalk, episode 855, recorded today live on 4 p.m. at the 30th of July, 2025. Nice to see you all. Lovely to see all our chatty folks. I'm going to press this button and see if this works. Oh, it does. There we go. Yeah, lovely to see you. Andrew Brooks, Sikraton, McAvrey. Gosh, a few familiars and a few people we haven't seen there for a long time. Lovely to see you. This is the podcast to do with music technology and all of those things. I don't know if you, like me, woke up this morning and started your Chrome and tried to connect audio interfaces and webcams and found that none of them would be selected. That's what happened to me. So that might be something that you're currently struggling with. Safari worked, if that's any tip, but yeah, those pesky OS updates, they will come and get you sometimes. So we are recording. Yes, I've already said the recording. Just want to let you know a bit of stuff that's coming up. If I come to the right page, I can press the coming up. Yeah, you can win Bitwig Studio, which is available. Go to our Instagram. There's a post there. You just need to like and comment and subscribe to us on Instagram. You can also up your chances by going to subscribing to our newsletter. There's lots of information on the Sonicstate page, which is sonicst.me/winbitwig. So do check that out. Also, we've got a 5 minutes with Reface DX coming up, 6 o'clock. I've got a premiere on that. That's actually been available to our Patreons all day. So another good reason to join us on Patreon. And Mid-Era Meets podcast, which is talking to Max for Cats, aka Christian Klein, who's been an Ableton dev for 24 years. And last one, there's a Superstar Hangout available this Sunday at 6 p.m. It was just a slightly bit late because I was watching the excellent women's football team win the UEFA Cup last Sunday, and I didn't fancy doing a show. So I'm sure you can forgive me that. So let's get on to... actually, I'll just plug a bit of a plug for our Patreon, which I know I need to update the ad, but you get the idea. Do join us. It's 2025 and our Patreon keeps getting better thanks to our supporters. Thank you so much. There's ad-free versions of much of what we post on YouTube, Sonic Talk pre-show, Sonic Lab extra videos, the ever-expanding Sonicstate archives, including classics like the top 20 greatest samplers. There's Patreon Discord, a monthly hangout, the excellent members map, impulse responses from classic and unusual reverbs, and a growing collection of patches and samples in decent sampler format, including some great Moog Muse samples. In fact, the music you're listening to now by Paulie Bow was made using our sample sets. So why not consider supporting us and keep us doing what we do? Head over to patreon.com/Sonicstate. Yes, indeed. So, right, let's get on to our guests. We've got the aforementioned Paulie Bow, who's looking very tank girl today. How are you, Paulie?
Life is good. I've got superfluous goggles.
Superfluous goggles. Oh, because you've got glasses on as well, of course. It's like...
Yeah.
They look like welding spectacles. They look like they might be tinted rose or red as well.
I'm kind of going for Egon out of Ghostbusters kind of energy, but they are practical, you know. If I do get caught in an acid rain shower, I'm fine. I'm okay.
Excellent. Well, everything else will be
It'll
gone,
eat
but
through
your
my
eyes
clothes.
will be intact.
But yeah, I'm good.
eyes.
That's it, definitely. I'm good, thanks. On this month's purchases is only one. I've got myself a Nerdseek or Nerdsec, which is like a tracker-based module, which is a lot of fun. I've been playing about with it, with lots of trigger inputs and outputs. So that's great because I've been sequencing my modular from external kind of MIDI things and CV converters. So it's good to have it all just talking CV. And the other thing I wanted to mention was I got headhunted twice in 1 month, which is wild. So the first one was last week I did a workshop with Saffron Music on making music with vintage computers, which went very well, and I got very, very geeky indeed. And then the next one is in London. I'm going to London, Nick, of all places.
Wow.
I feel like Paddington Bear. I'm going to need to take my marmalade sandwiches. But this a company called Drake's Music who do an event. I think it's every month or couple of months I think it's called DM Lab in London on September the 22nd. So I've been invited to do a bit of a talk and a performance there. So that's it. And they're paying for my travel and a hotel and everything. So I'm like, all right, mate, you've got a deal.
Nice. Oh, good.
So that's
Glad
really
to hear
nice. Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool.
Well, that's really good. Quick shout out to Homegrown, who is saying, still at work, don't tell the boss I'm watching YouTube. Well, hopefully they're not watching it as well. I guess I've blown it. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. I hope I haven't got you in trouble. Well, thank you, Paulie, for that roundup. We've also got Johan Nevo, who's there in the studio, where the man that controls at least of the centre section of the lovely Neve console. The other parts do function, but I suspect they're probably places where you put your snacks from time to time. No, I'm sure you wouldn't put snacks on fader base.
Maybe never tea or coffee.
No, that would be just criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
when you have moving faders, not advisable.
Oh gosh, yeah. I guess that would affect the trajectory, or maybe just make them very jumpy and jittery. I dread to think the sort of, but they're all modular. You can take them out and replace them, but you wouldn't really want to.
But you can't replace the motherboard. So if you get coffee that kind of seeps through the channels to the motherboard while it's powered, then
oh my goodness,
not advisable.
Would it not make your legs a bit livelier?
An assistant engineer,
lively,
and never since, luckily. So that was many years ago.
But yeah, I was going to say, it sounded like from some kind of experience, at least either third party.
You know what? I was doing the patch bay, and there was a cup of coffee, and I used to drink like 3 sugars, so it was very sweet, which is very conductive. And I had an open shirt, and I was doing the patch bay, and like in slow motion, I could see the shirt like doing like that ever so gently, like that, and stealing the coffee across the whole thing.
Did you dive for the power switch?
Yes, I did. And it was very unpleasant. It was a new desk and everything, but
your desk or
for
somebody
some reason
else's?
I didn't get fired, but it never happened again, ever.
No, I'm guessing it probably wouldn't. I'm trying to think if there are stories. The one I remember vividly is Ken Macbeth putting his pint on top of a Buchla system at NAMM many years ago, and it spilling into it. And that was it NAMM or Mesa? I forget which. I mean, he was quite a live wire back then, and used to use the trade shows as a reason to party, which is, as many people do still. I mean, there's nothing unusual about that, but he was just very unfortunate, and he's quite a colourful character. If you're out there, Ken, hope you're doing all right. Anyway, we do have some topics. There is something to talk about, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the summer months do tend to get a little bit quiet. Sorry, Paulie. Yeah.
If anything, there's one topic where I could go for 1 or 2 hours just on that one topic. So I think we've definitely got a show.
Okay, well that's all right then. Well, we'll start with some of the other ones, and we can fall back on that if we just sort of drop into sort of uncomfortable silences. Then I can fix it. Let's have a look then. So, let's start with this one. Why not? And I'm hoping that this is going to actually work. Everything's been a bit wonky, but we'll see. There we go. Hikari Stochastic Reverberator. I mean, there's a lot of these things about. I do love a bit of this kind of thing, just epic, drone-like, frozen almost. This seems to have patterns that are based on the movement of water, something unconventional by emulating, but it also emulates reverbs from the 1990s and early 2000s. $55. It just looks like a lot of fun, a lot of filtering. It's quite a lot. If you're getting this in stereo, it's got quite a lot of stereo filtering. I don't know how difficult or hard this is to do. There seems to be quite a lot of these about, and I'm guessing, as we often see, there are there are advances in sort of plug-in types and virtual instrument types as technology becomes available, or maybe algorithms become open source. I don't know quite how that's worked, but I did like the look of this, and I'm always a fan. I guess, Paulie, you're probably going to say you want this to run on one of your code modules in the modular, which wouldn't be a bad shout, or maybe that'll link up with something else. But this looks like fun. I imagine it takes a bit of DSP juice.
Oh my goodness. I obviously, before the show, I do a little bit of research and I look into the manuals of some of these products. And this one is absolutely wild. I wasn't entirely sure which 90s or 2000s era racks it's inspired by, but my guess would be maybe some of the later Lexicon PCMs, or maybe a couple of the Kurzweil kind of rumor units and stuff. They had some weird stuff, maybe the Ultra Harmonizer line. But the thing with this UI, it's like you're actually going on an underwater voyage, because the reverb seems to be modulated by the ocean
the
floor.
kind of contour lines, yeah.
The contour of the ocean floor and the ripple of the waves, and then you have a fathom meter, which is kind of like a low pass or a high pass. And then what was the other thing? Randomly on the map on the ocean floor, you have these things called anomalies, which just randomly turn up and do something crazy and random. So I think the kind of the presentation and the lore behind the instrument is really, really impressive. It makes you kind of want to go on that little exploration, even if the result isn't that different from other reverbs. This feels very much like an exploratory, cool way of spending an afternoon.
A couple of points here. I'd just like to do a shout out. Obviously, I remember back in the day, there used to be this volume of music called ambient dub, and there was the first volume, and one of the artists on it was someone called Jar Cousteau, which I thought was a brilliant name, and it sounds like Jar Cousteau should use this reverb for their ambient dub. The other thing is, what happens if you're using it for recall? You got it on a vocal, and the reverb would never be the same again. You can't have total recall. But those are just 2 points to maybe think about. I guess that's all right. I know, Yoad, what do you think? I mean, I guess from your point, do you have a lot of use for massive, huge washes of reverb that take up all the space in your mixes? I'm guessing not so often, but
sometimes on special kind of effects or events or things like that. It sounds to me like this engine is based on, like Paulie mentioned, similar algorithms to what Lexicon were using.
Right.
And these are widely available. And the one thing you should remember or note is that if you're not messing with the size, so the size is usually the distance between the early reflection taps. And when you change those, and these have to be random, otherwise you get resonances and comb filtering and things like that. So when you change those, you have to reset the memory, and then you get clicks and zipper noise and things like that. All the rest of it is quite fluid. So there's modulation within the feedback loop, the decay, there are filters within the feedback loop. So everything is levels and FM, which can be fluidly modified. So you can get a lot done with, even if you take any algorithmic reverb and you assign most of the functions to controllers, you can achieve amazing sounds and soundscapes and things like that. The only thing you mustn't do is assign the size parameter. But if you get like a lab version of a reverb, even a simple reverb, you can have so many parameters that are not usually kind of exposed to the user and are parts of within the kind of they do exist within presets or within types and
Yes.
things like that. But once you have access to them and you automate them or modulate them, then you can do a lot of stuff with algorithmic reverb. And this looks like a really cool interface. I noticed, I just watched the video briefly before the show. So I think that when you have kind of different topography, then it changes the modulation, the delay time, which creates kind of Doppler effect. So it's transient based, so it's not continuous. So when you go up and down, it creates like a Doppler effect, which then settles and things like that. Yeah, very cool. Looks very cool.
Interesting. One thing I like to do, and whenever there's modulating the pre-delay, I always find sounds really good. But and that can be quite smooth and not create zipper noise. But you get some really interesting pitch fluctuations that then go into the rest of the reflections.
Depends if it's implemented as analog delay, which requires twice the memory, because you need double the delay line time in order to scan it smoothly, to create this analog delay type. So if you implement that on the pre-delay, then yes, you will get those. Otherwise, again, recalculate equals zipper noise.
My favorite one in the Lexicon PCM81, which I've got, is called Glide Hall, which has, I think, 6 gliding delay lines, which do calculate themselves and, you know, can kind of smoothly be moved by modulators and stuff like that. And that's kind of the source of most of my weird Doppler-y phase shifted reverbs. There's a few presets that you can kind of dive into, you know, so yeah, I love Verb.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I just reviewed the Bop and Steve, This Is Not Rocket Science, which was the last video I did, and that you could modulate the pre-delay time in that, but there was also an early reflection which you could change the character of, but unfortunately you couldn't access that via CV. It was quite subtle, but some of the stuff you could do by modulating the delay was absolutely gorgeous. Get some really interesting sounds, and that was via CV. I mean, obviously that's probably not as complex as this, but I guess if you were able to feed in a random enough control voltage that maybe followed the rules that you would have similar-ish effects, at least at some portion of it. Although that's hardware, obviously, and makes a difference to you can't write. More instances is more money, so perhaps not so.
It is.
Not such a. But there you go. Yeah. Good fun though. Nice one. Okay, right. Well, we do have more topics. Let's see. Oh yes, hold on. I just wanted to chuck this one up. This Nick Howes mentions that Valhalla obviously is so good. That's a great free. Is it Valhalla free? I'm trying to remember if it is. No, it's not. It's not the free one, is it? Oh, it is the free one.
Valhalla Supermassive is free.
Yeah. But the vintage reverb is not free, and it is based on similar kind of methodology that stems from the lexicon kind of. So they're all, have a lot of similarities.
Interesting. Well, I guess that's the thing about algorithmic reverbs, is that you can modify. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, IRs are really nice. We put IRs in our decent sampler, but I mean, that's got a very basic engine. I mean, it's literally just send level. You can't adjust stuff, but there is probably things you could do. I don't know with IRs. Do you do things like sort of adjust the playback clock of the sample to change the length and things, or does that change the pitch?
Poly effects.
Well, with IRs, again, you have to calculate and create a new, whatever you do, unless it's kind of a linear filter like EQ or anything in the input like clipping or stuff like that, you would have to recalculate, create a new impulse response, which will result in muting of the playback.
Right.
And then but you can do a lot with IRs, because you can filter them over time. You can have like filter envelopes with resonance, like we have on the H reverb, which is kind of algorithmic IR based. So it is continuous. So it's a kind of a hybrid thing.
Interesting.
But you can have resonant filters and things like that. But you have on most reverbs, not the H reverb, but other ones, you have to calculate. But the good thing about it is that you can also cut it in a non-linear way. You can, whatever you do with a amplitude envelope, will get you results that you can't possibly achieve with algorithmic reverb.
Right. Okay. No, fair enough. Okay. Well, we do have another topic. Let me just go to my my big page of things. Oh yeah. Well, this is sort of. I guess it's similarly. We actually both saw this. I was talking to you, Yoad, and then I went and did a demo of it with.
Oh yes.
I think he's called Andy Stark. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, we'll see in a minute. So yeah, this was the JellyFish Granular
Adam,
plugin.
nice to see you.
Adam Stark.
I'm here on the MKIII music. Booth where I think it's the gloves, but I also saw this new synth, this granular synth, JellyFish. I've not heard of this before. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, so the JellyFish is a granular synthesis that was originally developed as a way to use granular synthesis in live performance.
Okay.
Because you can live record into the buffer in real time and then manipulate it. And you can actually see the gloves behind us here.
Yes, I can.
We would sort of.
I'll fast forward it, get some sounds.
Move to different parts of the buffer. Kind of capture different bits of sound.
The music in the background is the gloves.
Like clouds in a way, that sort of similarity, but it sounds like.
Yeah, this was really good. I have to say, Adam Stark's dad is called Tony. Can you believe that? It was just, I did ask him, and his dad is actually called Tony Stark. Can you believe it? Yeah. This looked good. I mean, you can record. I asked him about it. I think the buffer length is a maximum of 10 minutes, so you can record a lot of stuff in there. And then I guess you can scan around it and resize it. It sounds like it could be a lot of fun, and then I guess you can save stuff. He originally made it for the Imogen Heap MKIII Glove Performance Suite, and then broke it out as a standalone. It's 99 quid, so it's not the cheapest, but it's quite specific. And the fact that you've got that length of buffer is probably quite encouraging to a lot of people. Plus, 14-day free trial. Interesting. I like the look of this. I heard you go, when I said 10 minutes, and you sounded like that might be something. 10 minutes
it's
or 10
chin
seconds?
Scratcher, isn't it?
A chin scratcher.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. The 10-minute kind of length of the granular sample, because you can, record for a good old long time and then find in it something that works for you, which is brill. Because a lot of granular samplers either just load in a WAV file or they do live input, but in a kind of smaller buffer. I don't think, for instance, Clouds has a particularly long buffer.
No, it doesn't.
So this is really cool. I also like the JellyFish related,
it did look a little bit random, just having a jellyfish kind of just having a jellyfish sort of stuck there like that. It was a bit peculiar.
It seems like we've got a loose nautical theme today with the fathoms of the first reverb, and now we've got jellyfish. So
maybe they could interact. That would be kind of cool.
Probably interact. You could put your jellyfish in the ocean.
Absolutely. I know, interesting. I mean, granular stuff. I mean, it's quite unusual to have a live input buffer of such a great size, but I guess with modern CPUs, I mean, it's no problem at all. Just either record to a temp disk or into memory, I suppose.
Yeah, it looks very cool. It reminds me of a plugin I have by SampleSon called Scaper. So it's not live. You have to import WAV files to it, but you can import like really long WAV files, and you can manipulate it in real time and assign it to controllers and stuff. So it's very cool. I like the sort of glove interaction and all that. For me, sitting here in the studio, I don't mind importing WAV files. So for me, the live element is less of of a thing.
Right.
But yeah, you can get like really lush and weird stuff with granular synths, or would you like to call them effects, or whatever they are? It's somewhere in between, I guess.
Yeah, one thing I should point out is the effects you were hearing on top of that were post. It's not got a built-in reverberator like you have with clouds and other systems that maybe have a similar thing. But I mean, I imagine, I don't know, you could probably set preset. You could almost use it to sort of play back clips. So you could have a sort of, a verse section, a chorus, you know what I mean? Just straight playback samples and then granularize or chop them. I don't know. It'd be fun to have a look at anyway. I mean, I think for live performance, it's probably and Adam very gamely had a go at doing some live sampling from the noisy space and just kind of and it sort of worked. I mean, just using the mic.
Yeah.
I needed a bit of routing set up in Ableton, but I mean, I think it will work nicely in Ableton. You just route the output of another channel into it and then capture it, and I guess the whole thing can all be automated. It could be kind of fun for live stuff. You can find that at MKIII Gloves. I think is it called that? I can't see the URL anywhere. I expect it is. Let me see. I've probably got it somewhere. Just make sure it is. It was at... oh, yeah, I can't find it now. But, yeah, if you go to the MKIII Gloves, because you could buy that. They were also showing the... I think it's version 2 of Imogen Heap's gloves, and they had people doing various gestural and... performances, which I guess, again, it's quite niche, but I mean, that's all right. People could survive on quite niche stuff. It's not the end of the world for that sort of.
They might be fun for a Sonic Lab review. If they send it.
Gestural. I suppose, yeah. Well, I did actually, I did, because I got a Leap Motion somewhere. I could just sort of put D-beams, leap motions, and anything that would gesturally control around the place and just see what it would do. But it feels like, as with setting up MIDI controllers effectively, sometimes the setup time and effort outweighs the end result, shall we say.
I could have just played this on a keyboard or something.
I could have maybe just got it right. I mean, I'm not against gestural control. Gestural control works because, I mean, you can do it with... I guess there's all sorts of ways to interface it. It's probably I mean, I know that there are. I'm trying to think. There are with the Leap Motion and also with certain cameras. It'll track your hands. There's the thing, isn't there? Isn't there the Roly beam thing that allows you to get gestural as well? I can't remember now. I think so.
I'd quite like the kind of concept of maybe using one hand on a traditional instrument like a piano keyboard and then the other, doing gestural stuff. I think that would be quite fun. So you could have more control over your harmony with a standard musical interface, but then bring all this gestural stuff in on top. Perhaps that'd be quite fun.
Interestingly, I did. I don't know if you've seen Imogen Heap do any performances with the gloves in recent time where she explains them, because she's obviously really fluent with them, and it is very impressive. Yeah, exactly. She should be. She's invented them, but yeah, it's quite impressive. Just the degree of control that she could get when she's and the gestures she's chosen. It's interesting because some of the gestures she's chosen obviously very personal to her and make sense, but maybe be different, because it's the sort of thing that you would want to make more personal. If it's obvious, if you are constantly shooing things away in a certain way, it might be really obvious to you that that's how you should remove the reverb or whatever it may be that you're doing at that point. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure it's fun to play around with. It's just the like I say, I just think the setup is, and also just thinking the whole time, is this going to work? How long does it take you to trust that it's all going to work as you expect it? That's a thing that has got to be an issue as well, I'd imagine.
I guess.
Well, you can say that about any performance. How can you trust the guitar not to break a string?
Yeah,
or
no, I
anything
suppose
like
so.
That?
That's
or
true.
to step on the jack lead or something.
And I suppose it's because the spectacle of it as a visual element allows allows the audience to connect with the music better, potentially, because there's an abstraction between someone who doesn't know how music is made and what supposedly is electronic music, and what is the performer doing, and what is just, you know, playback and stuff like that. And I think having something gestural or something physical gives the audience that kind of visual, you know, stimulus that the performer's performing, essentially.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I always quite like the idea of having, when Roly first came out, I like the idea of having one key. Do you see what I mean? So you just use one hand on one key, which would have all the pressure, the squidge, the roll from the side to side, the up and down, that then control what you were doing on a regular MIDI keyboard.
Okay.
Which might make sense, you know. So, and I guess that's the same principle as the Expressive E Touche, which a lot of people really swear by, and that is very intuitive. Because you can send CV out of that, and you can send MIDI out of that. That's a really beautiful thing. I mean, Expressive E are kind of actually I think they did a whole new load of presets for. I forget the name of the synth that they did it for, but there's a whole bunch of new stuff which I was going to try and check out as well. I haven't got round to that. Okay, I think I'm going to play an ad. We've only got one this week because the sale that Isotope were running ends tomorrow. But if you are interested in getting Stutter Edit for almost, I think it's 50% off. I'd have to double check that. But then head over to isotope.com. But in the meantime, have a listen to this.
I know right away when it's good for me because it makes me write something.
Komplete 50, a do-it-all production bundle for endless sonic inspiration.
I did not know it could do that.
You have your low sounds, you have your mid sounds, you have your high sounds.
Create any sound imaginable.
All together, sounds nice and big.
Whatever sound your music needs, make it with Komplete 50. Okay, right. So what do we got next? Should we do the SY thing? I don't have a video for this, but or a web page. Okay, yes is the answer. This is the only reason these two guests are here. Get on with it. We've been treading water this whole time. Just get on with it. Right, okay. Yes, I'm just there. Right, hold on. So number 3, I just need to do this, don't I? Yeah. I don't think, for some reason, it's not loading the web page. But basically, Sway, it's a new soft synth that's modelled on the SY77, which for many people is a bit of a sort of pinnacle of classic FM hybrid synthesis and workstation. I know Will Gregory used to use one a lot. He used to use it to play live with a band called the Gas Giants, which had all sorts of sequencing and sounds. It combined FM synthesis with sample-based synthesis. I think AWS, if I'm correct, one of the early ones of AWS. I could be wrong. Patch compatibility means you can load maybe your patches into this. And the news item we posted, lots of people were just basically saying, wow, I can get rid of, X, Y, and Z, and I can just load all my patches into this, and it'll make an absolutely great thing. And see if I can find that. Let me just get the link, because I think I can post it into the chat, and that's probably a good idea. So I'll just post that in there, just so it's for reference. Yeah, there we go. That's it there. So, Paulie, I know you got very excited about this. So I guess we should come to you first. Does the SY77? Have you got an SY77, or have you had an SY77, or an R99, or a?
I have the rack version, which is the TG77, which is really cool. And it's got a nice replacement blue screen in it. And I got it a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was having like a really terrible month. Things were going wrong. And essentially, obviously, I didn't have children then, though, so I could spend time programming a synth. So I spent a month banging out this patch bank on the TG77 as mainly a distraction from all of the stuff that was falling apart in my life, and ended up having an amazing time with it. I followed a guide on the internet by a guy called Herbert Janssen, called the Psy Programming Guide, and it went through all of the weird stuff that the Psy77 can do, which is of course, 6 operator FM, but it's got multiple feedback paths. You can chuck samples as one of the operators. You can do wave shaping. If you set one of the operators to 0 hertz, it becomes like a wave shaping wave folder. So all one of the envelopes loops. I think the amp envelope loops, and it goes to audio rate, which is wild for a 1989 synth. So all of these things, and the very charming early AWM kind of PCM samples, and the quite primitive but quite lush effects, just absolutely blow me away every time I play it. It is, for me, the epitome of the vintage digital sound. And I've got other heavy hitters from that period, like the Kurzweil K2000, a bunch of EMU stuff, Kawai stuff, but for some reason the TG77 just it kind of just suits me, and now it's available as a soft synth with a much better interface. So I'm looking forward to diving into all those cool things, FM, adding the samples, modulating the samples, but doing it from, one, the comfort of my bed on a laptop, and two, with this new set of PCMs, because the original PCMs aren't included. There are some similar sound-alike ones to kind of, get around the legal thing. And I'm gonna, the last thing of relevance is that I've been in touch with the dev, and I'm gonna do a bunch of the factory presets, which is awesome.
Nice.
So it's my first real factory preset job for a synth. My first sort of real sort of independent sound design gig. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I've imported my existing patches, and there were a couple of issues, so the dev has already fixed them apparently. And yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing, just to play my favorite synth in a new form, and play with the parameters of my favorite synth in a new form. So that was
I
my
guess
long
if they
monologue.
I guess if they have a load of make sure there's lots of MIDI control, because obviously the original wouldn't have had a great deal of controls on it. You could increase the number of macros possibly and change the routings, then that would be really nice.
I guess. Absolutely.
Oh, not SysX. No.
Yeah, the original is mainly SysX, but there's three wheels, which means it's okay. But if you can, like in the DAW, like in Reaper or whatever, if you could list all of the parameters and then just automate them, with your points, then that is going to be absolutely, amazing.
That sounds good.
It's my favorite synth, and I'm really looking forward to making a bunch of patches for it.
Nice. Yoad, did you? I seem to remember you talking about these back in the day. Is that something that you were familiar with?
I used to own a TG77, and for me, that's the pinnacle of the kind of FM era. It's so good, and it has the TG, not the SY, had 8 outputs. And it's just a beast, and I don't know why I sold it, but I guess that now if I can have the plugin, then I don't need the hardware. And as you may know, I prefer the interface of something that is on the screen in front of me, and
in the box,
I can sit here in the sweet spot and happy days. So for me, that's great. That's amazing. I'm not sure how the effects are recreated, whether they are exactly the same, because the ROM will it include the effects or not? I'm not sure. But either way, it's the sounds. It's the possibility of importing those DX7 sounds and then enhancing them with with PCM, basically. And to overcome the fact that it doesn't come with the original AWS sounds, I'm sure you can download them. I should have really sampled them before I sold the TG. I'm sure you can download them and make your own bank, and then I suppose it's legal to use it. But I can understand why
not to sell it, probably.
Yeah, amazing. I'm looking forward to that, and I subscribe to the main mailing list or whatever it takes to get informed when it comes out. I'll be happy to make some factory presets as well, which I've done loads. So, Paulie, welcome to this.
Thank you.
Infamous
the development corner. Excellent.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to have your own presets forever in products. It's nice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You can.
I just want to say the EX5 and EX7 are being stated as if you love those keyboards, then these are the ones that you. That's what Nick Howes was saying.
I would agree.
If you like that, you would really love those. They're even more mind-blowing.
I have an EX7 as well, and that does very, very odd things, like you can run a sample through a bubbling tap, and it sounds like it's coming out of a babbling brook or whatever. So you can load in the original ROM file of the SY77, or I think the SY55/TG55, and use those PCMs.
I love it.
Yeah, so you can get the original PCMs, but you're going to have to download them yourself to kind of
have a TG55. It was so good. It was so punchy. It was amazing.
It has the best choir sample
out.
on ever. The TG55's choir R is my favourite one in the world. It's so cool.
And I love the fact that you could take one oscillator out of the keyboard tracking. So you could have a fixed note on one oscillator and then play on the other oscillator or operator or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a really good feature. Not available in many modern synths, which should be very easy to implement.
The other thing they do, which is really nice, is you can offset the LFOs at 90 degrees. So you can start one LFO out of phase and bring the sounds in kind of like wave sequencing, but you can speed it up and slow it down with the controller by turning the LFO rate up and stuff. But they're not that fun to program. Even for me, who is fine with this stuff, they are not what I'd call, the TG55 is a tiny screen. The TG77, the screen's a bit bigger, but it is kind of like doing maths on a Casio scientific calculator or something. Programming.
Well, I used to use MIDI-Quest for all that, and using which I still use until these days.
It's great software,
which is great, and it covers a lot of stuff. But the 77 has so many parameters that even to see it all on the screen is like it's a lot of scrolling. But it's nothing like trying to program it on this tiny annoying display.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. There's been an announcement in the chat room. I don't know how any of the details of this, but a regular chatty, CR78, Alex, I think he sent me. I think I met him once at Super Booth, possibly. I think he's passed away suddenly from a heart attack. So that's very sad news, and I hope everybody's in the family all right. I don't know how. I mean, not like this second, I don't think, but the news has just hit us. So hopefully everybody's all right out there. But I don't mean to bring it down, but we always like to remember our chatties.
Yes.
I hope everything's all right. I hope it's not true. That would be even better. But I don't think it's the sort of thing you bandy about if it's not. So thanks, Wagyu, for making that known to us. Okay, right. I think there was let's go for sample slicer. God, it feels a bit glib doing that now, but the show must go on and everything. Okay, let's try this one. Yeah, this is the Ginkgo Synth sample sliver Mark III, which is a module which I really like the look of this. It's a sample slicer that allows you to slice things against clocks, feed in clocks, have moving clocks, and then reorder and replay back the slices. There's some really interesting, perhaps not the best demos on this because it's kind of hard to see what's going on, but you can kind of get the idea. Yeah, so there we go. So it starts to re-randomize and play. It's an interesting one. We actually saw something called the Ectocore Algorithmic Breakbeat Sample Mangler that we saw at I think it was Bristronica last year, and there was a guy just wandering around with a little battery-powered rig and a speaker, just kind of playing the Amen break in loads of sort of mad configurations. Similar idea. This one is about €350. I really like the look of this, though, and I'm guessing something that it can be done in software. I mean, I don't know if something like JellyFish would do it, but something that has that specific thing. I mean, I guess it's almost like making a Rex file live and then just in hardware and then resampling it. It looks like a really interesting idea. I don't know if you've got any suggestions where this could be, but yeah, Ginkgo Synth Sample Sliver Mark III. I'll just point that out.
So one interesting thing is that Peter Kern, who I chat to quite often, absolutely seemed incredibly excited about this in his writing about it. And reading into it more, it looks like the kind of thing, yes, you can do in software or other bits of hardware. But this seems really, really fluid and instrument-like. It's like you sample it in, you can make it sample when you feed it a clock /trigger/gate, so that you're sampling in time, with whatever
that makes sense.
Your thing is, with whatever your source is. And then the parameters just look really playable. Like you can just grab the reverse and just reverse a certain step or turn certain steps on and off. So it looks like something that you could really play without too much setup. Whereas other options are either you're going to have to. I've got the Erica sample drum up here, which I absolutely love, but you have to load the sample in and then do your slices and things like that, whereas which is kind of an administrative task, isn't it? It's a computer like administrative task involving file storage and loading things up.
Well, that's true.
Whereas this is feed it your clock, feed it your audio and go to town. It's something that I think someone like Sam Buttle would really appreciate, just get in there, chuck it your sample and then just go. So yeah, I think it seems like a really playable instrument, and I think that'd be another good one for the channel to review it.
Interesting. I suppose if you send it
one.
a slow enough clock, then each slice would be the length of the gap between the clocks. So you set the divisions. So if it's a fast clock, you've got little slices. If it's a slow clock, you've got bigger slices, maybe. That sounds like a really interesting idea. I suppose
weird. You could feed it weird, not perfect clocks, couldn't you? You could feed it a syncopated dun 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 or whatever, and it'd pick out those slices. So yeah, all sorts of chaos you could do.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, thinking about it, I know I did mention a plug for Isotope Stutter Edit too. I think there's probably something along those lines you could do in that.
Yes.
Because I think you set up different sort of processes on different keys, so it might not be quite as intuitive. I don't know, but maybe worth checking out. There you go. There's a free extra plug for it. I know, Johan, is this something that this does look interesting to me, I must admit.
It looks interesting. Reminds me a little bit of this Nugent. The sampler mangler kind of thing that I have here in the modular rack, which I thought
Right.
I would use every day.
Morphogene? Is it the Morphogene?
Yes, that's the one.
Make noise, yeah.
I thought I would use it every day, and I couldn't believe how I got any music done without it ever before I bought it. And then I didn't really do much with it. But it's very cool. But this device looks even more cool because you can do the step things. I think that you used to be able to do stuff like that in battery. You had to slice the stuff yourself. You can do it in machine. Machine will slice it for you. And then, but in battery, they used to have battery 2 or something like that. You used to be able to loop a kind of a slot, if you want to call it that, and change the loop time and change the start time via controllers, which was amazing because you could do like, audio rate stuff and on the fly, and then they canceled it, and I don't know why. It was such a creative approach. Maybe it was a licensing thing, maybe it was technology that they licensed from someone else and it expired or something, who knows. That was like many, many years ago. I think it was battery 2. That was great. But on machine, you can throw in a sample and it will slice and you can do stuff. But this is more tactile and hands-on and all the kind of, modular.
It slices, I think that
that
slices after the fact. I like the fact that this slices in the sampling process. So you're actually defining the slots as you record them, which I quite like.
Yeah.
At least that's how I understand it. That's a sort of different way. Actually, talking about battery, I was remembering back because I used to use battery a bit, and I just remember there's something about those sounds in battery that just sounded absolutely fantastic.
Amazing.
I don't know what it is. Was that just the curation of the library or something about the sound?
I don't know. It sounds like I still have those sounds from battery 2 and battery 3. I think so I have the folder, and whenever I use them, and I started using battery again, and I noticed that it hasn't been updated for quite a few years, and I hope they're not going to discontinue it. Because now the GUI is really small, which tells me that it hasn't been updated for quite a few years. And I hope they're not going to discontinue it because it's great. I have it on my template project on 16 tracks, which I throw stuff on it from Cosmos, from sample browser, and it's a really, really great workflow. But at the moment, it's a little bit small on the screen, which is a little bit annoying. But
I don't know. I mean, because obviously with the consolidation with Native Instruments and all these other, whether they've got the same team sort of twiddling their thumbs, I guess not. I mean, I suppose to tackle that, they probably have to sort of open the project and get some people, get a team up together to start working on it. I mean, if they haven't done it already, it's probably not about to happen, I would suggest. But maybe we could be pleasantly surprised. It'd be nice to see.
It will.
Yeah, it would be good, wouldn't it? Okay, well, there was one more thing which I think I'll just briefly do, just because I think it's interesting, and I'm currently in a sort of open source coding sort of frame of mind. Like I said, I'm experimenting with running our own podcasting platform from open source software, and I managed to get it running yesterday. So I'm just sort of this resonates with me. So let's just play this one, and we'll close out with that.
Hello. In this video, I want to show you some of the things that people have been doing with Lua scripts on the Disting NT. When I first added Lua scripting into the Disting NT, I wrote in the manual, such scripts are ideal for CV processing, especially for quirky little sequences or generative things that are never going to get implemented as official algorithms. And this has turned out to be entirely true. A lot of the first things that people have done with...
Sorry, it's a bit of a slow-moving video there, but you can watch the whole thing. But yeah, the Disting firmware that allows people to load their own scripts in Lua, which I do know because I think Lua you can code scripts for DaVinci Resolve. In case you're interested, maybe you could automate some of your video programming stuff in there, but also Faust, which I've never heard of. But an interesting idea. So that now Disting. I mean, Paulie, did you look at Disting NT? You've got is that a Disting NT I can see up there in the rack?
I don't have one yet. I've got one of the older Disting Mark III. I think I've got a Mark III. But these features have definitely put it on my radar because I like tinkering with things, but I'm not a very good coder. And it seems that there's three things which excite me. One, there's an algorithm which runs spin FV1 effects on the Disting NT, which is like the effects aid, essentially, and other reverb pedals, algorithms like that. Then you have the Lua scripts, which seem to be a way of coding your own sequencer or CV processor, which is brilliant. And there's a degree of documentation which I like, because I kind of learn by ripping apart other people's art, essentially, code, music, whatever, and then learning what I need in the details. And then the last one is this Faust.
Never heard of it.
Apparently, it's a DSP coding, a high-level language for coding DSP effects, filters, oscillators, anything like that. And that got me really excited because I was like, there's so many examples there for how to code a filter and how to code stuff like that. And it makes me think, could I go in and take one of those examples and wreck it just a little bit? Just break it slightly and get an effect that is kind of like a filter but doesn't quite sound right. And would that be, cool to do? So it seems that the Disting NT is shaping up to be something absolutely, massive. Just like the meta module from 4MS, which is shaping up to have loads of kind of open source things. This platform seems to be the same, and I kind of like that. I've also got a Zinfian, which is an open source Linux box, which doesn't have any CV. It's just got MIDI, but I think it's really, really cool because it kind of allows people who just want to have a go to code something musical, and the result may be something that a big corporation or designed by committee might never do. One person in their bedroom's going to code something weird for fun.
The other thing I would say, and this is this is one area where AI can be incredibly useful, because you can take, say, DSP code in a language of which there is reference, and then tell, if you use a visual a coding environment, an IDE like Visual Studio, you can say, can you make this filter do something more like this? And then it would update the code, and you can just try it and see what it, you could describe perhaps what you want the result to be. And that's one area where AI is very, very good, certainly in some areas. And it's not going to, the code isn't going to, launch any nuclear missiles or anything. So it's going to be pretty safe. Pretty safe thing.
As well as AI, you could also find your local programming recluse who doesn't leave the house and pay him in cheese sandwiches to write something for you, so there are options.
You can, that's another. There are options. Does the sort of prospect of open source and user coding fill you with dread, or do you, I imagine, do you work on projects, because I know you work on a lot of plugins, do you work on things where you have an open end for user to contribute their own source, or do you prefer to keep control over that sort of thing? I know you don't code personally, but
not so far. And luckily, I work with, some of the best developers in the world. So I I never had to dabble in coding myself. And
You said that about video, though, Joad.
Video editing is something that I always try to steer out of, but I'm deep in. But coding is something that I'm not going to get in, because even if I know a little bit about it and I can do some stuff, but I'm never going to have 20 years or 30 years of experience in coding.
No.
So why not let someone who does do the stuff?
That's fair point.
And I'm lucky enough to have always worked with like very, very good, talented and experienced people, and I'm hoping to keep it that way. So
fair enough. I think that's a fair answer. I think we might kind of knock things on the heads now and just sort of run things back. For those who weren't sure, last week we didn't do a show because we had Hark, who is a really talented musician and videographer who does YouTube stuff on sort of vintage digital technology. Would have fitted right in, and we were really looking forward to it, but she had to cancel at the very last minute. Hopefully we'll get her back. We will try and do that, but that was just an explanation. But of course we'll be back next week with more stuff. Paulie, have you got stuff on the go? Did you say are you going to do your sponsored, your headhunted stuff fairly shortly, or is it a few weeks off?
It's in September the 22nd, but there's planning for it. Obviously the people want to talk to me and see what I'm going to do and stuff like that. Whether it's they want to go really arty and I'll just pour a bucket of blue paint over my head and scream into a microphone, or whether they want something actually resembling music. So we'll see. We'll see what they want.
Interesting. That'll be fun. Well, have a great week, and thank you very much. Don't forget, 6 o'clock, we're showing the Reface DX 5 minutes with Chris from Battery Orchestra has posted that video for us, so that'll be up shortly. Joad, I guess you're going to be back doing stuff you can't tell us about because it's all top secret, but I imagine you're busy, right?
Yeah, very exciting stuff, but I am going to plug my video that's coming out tomorrow.
Yes, please do.
Which is all about mixing like it's 1985. So I did one a week ago, which is mixing like it's 1978, and it's going well, and it's amazing. So I did another one, which is mixing like it's 1985, where I only use gear, albeit in the box, but emulated gear that was available in that era. And the song I'm working on is really cool. It's an 80s song, and I'm very excited about this video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I'm back to what I do.
Back to the day job. Well, thank you so much, everybody. It's great to see you all. Thanks to all the folks in the chat room. It's great to see you all. And once again, our condolences to the friends and family of CR78/Alex, I believe is his IRL name. But we will see you all next week, I hope. That was it for Sonic Talk episode 855. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye now.